They say you never forget your first subscriber. That one tiny number beside your channel name. 1, glowing like a pulse on a heart monitor. Proof that someone's watching. Proof that you exist. I remember staring at that number for hours. It was 3:17 a.m. I had just uploaded my first episode of The Silent Theory, a 10-minute breakdown of a local disappearance that no one cared about anymore. My lighting was terrible, my voice cracked halfway through the narration, and my edits were clumsy. But when I hit refresh, there it was. Subscriber number 0013. A username that meant nothing and everything. I told myself it was random. Some night owl. Maybe a bot. But the next day, I got a comment. You saw what the police missed. That was when the camera stopped feeling like glass and started feeling like skin, warm, reactive, almost alive. I realized I could tell it anything. And it would never judge me. I could confess. And they would call it content. Fame doesn't arrive all at once. It seeps in quietly, like light under a closed door. The comments section became my morning coffee. Every "you're so insightful" and "I never thought of it that way" rewired something inside me. My voice started to change. Slower, calmer, deliberate, like the narrators I used to imitate before I found my own tone. Then came the sponsors, the emails, the invitations to collaborate. Suddenly, I wasn't a nobody dissecting other people's darkness. I was an authority. And that's where it started to split, the person and the persona. Mara Soren filmed during the day. The Silent Theory uploaded at night. Between them, I learned to edit more than video. I learned to edit myself. The stories I told weren't really about victims. They were about patterns. The subtle things police miss, timelines that don't fit, motives that sound too neat. My viewers called it intuition. I called it research. But research, like hunger, grows. And the more I learned about killers, the more I began to see the gaps, not in their morality, but in their execution. Mistakes, oversights, evidence left behind not out of arrogance, but out of sentiment. Every mistake felt like a note in a song I could already hear the end of. The channel grew. 10,000 subscribers. Then 50. Then 100. And every time that little red circle blinked new comment, it whispered the same question. How do you know so much? I used to laugh when I read that. But laughter, like guilt, is just a form of confession. The first time I corrected a story, it wasn't a crime, at least, not the kind the law recognizes. A famous case I'd covered turned out to be full of staged details, fake interviews, dramatized evidence. I exposed the inconsistencies, and the video went viral overnight. It wasn't the truth that thrilled people, it was the audacity of rewriting what they thought they knew. That night I realized something dangerous. Correction feels almost identical to creation. The comments exploded. Finally, someone fearless. Mara's the real detective. You should be on the task force. I didn't sleep for 2 days. Instead, I rewatched my own video, memorizing every micropause, every breath. My reflection in the black monitor looked unfamiliar, posture straighter, eyes sharper. I started curating the mistakes of others like exhibits in a museum of failure. A local disappearance that the press had misreported. A neighbor's unsolved burglary. A journalist's plagiarized paragraph. The first real story I altered was small, just a headline rewritten, a rumor seeded. Nothing illegal. But when the police statement later mirrored my phrasing almost word for word, I understood the algorithm in a new way. If you predict attention, you can control it. And control, once tasted, is indistinguishable from faith. My subscribers wanted a new case. Something fresh. I chose one that hadn't yet made the news, because it hadn't happened. Not exactly. I wrote it like a screenplay, locations, motives, timeline, evidence. Then I read it aloud as analysis. What if a person like this existed? What patterns would we see? The comments adored it. You always find the stories before anyone else. When a real event resembling my script appeared days later, details twisted but eerily aligned, people called me prophetic. Others called it staged marketing. Both were right in their own ways. For the first time, I felt my own fiction loop back toward me like an echo in a cave. I spoke. The world replied. The police even referenced my video during a press conference. I watched, expressionless, as they quoted lines I'd written at 2 a.m. That's when I stopped using mirrors. I didn't need them anymore. The world had become one. The username began leaving timestamps in my videos, exact moments where my voice faltered, where the edit glitched by a frame. 4 minutes and 12 seconds. You almost slipped there. 7 minutes and 9 seconds. Was that the real you? I tried to block them. The account returned under new variations each time. I checked IP logs. Impossible. The platform said the user didn't exist. Every creator imagines their audience seeing them completely. I started to feel seen through. One night I caught myself addressing the empty chair across from me during a live stream. "Are you enjoying this?" I asked, smiling as if to a friend. The chat froze. The stream cut off by itself. That was when I realized I'd stopped performing for people. I was performing for the algorithm, a thing without eyes that somehow watched me blink. Subscriber number 0013 wasn't a person. It was a mirror I'd built out of code and confession. And I could no longer tell which of us uploaded first. Sleep vanished. Days blurred into thumbnail drafts and analytics refreshes. My voice in recordings began to desynchronize, mouth moving a half beat after the words. Even raw footage did it. I told myself it was software lag. But I knew better. The self I filmed was now editing me. I started hearing whispers in exported audio, breaths between sentences I'd never taken. My editor program saved files I didn't name. Titles like the witness and sequence _0013.move. When I opened them, each clip showed my empty chair. Sometimes the red light blinked as if recording, sometimes not. People online noticed the change. This new style is genius. You're blurring fiction and reality. They thought it was art. Maybe it was. Maybe confession has always been the purest form of fiction. I filmed my last episode at dawn. The script was only one line. Every story ends when the audience stops believing. I looked straight into the lens and waited for the red light to blink out, but it didn't. It pulsed slower, like breathing. Then, quietly, I reached forward, not to end the recording, but to touch the reflection of my own hand in the lens. It felt warm. Somewhere outside, sirens passed. Inside, the monitors dimmed one by one. I uploaded the file titled final_0013mp4 and scheduled it for 11:13 p.m. Then I logged out of every account. No footprints. No forwarding address. No device pings. By midnight, the channel vanished. Subscriber count frozen at 1,313,000. 3 weeks later, a new channel appeared, the Silent Theory Archive. No bio, no links. Just one upload, an unlisted video titled Subscriber number 0013. It's only 10 seconds long. The footage shows an empty chair, softly lit, microphone waiting. At the 9-second mark, a faint voice, female, calm, familiar, whispers. "You saw what the police missed." Then static. The comments are disabled. The view count never moves. Some say the video only appears at 3:17 a.m., the time Mara uploaded her first confession. Others claim they found new uploads on her old feed, files dated months in the future. I haven't seen them myself. But sometimes, when I open my camera app in the dark, the red light flickers on by itself. And for a split second, I hear applause.